Brought to you by Penguin.
Limitarianism, The Case Against Extreme Wealth by Ingrid Robeyns, read by Rachel Bavidge. Introduction. Every year, the Sunday Times publishes its rich list, ranking the wealthiest people in the UK. In 2021, Sir Leonard Blavatnik got the top spot. His fortune, the newspaper reported, was worth £23 billion. That sounds like a lot of money. But how much is it really? In truth, most of us aren't really able to grasp how much money that is, simply because it's so far outside the parameters of wealth as we know it. We have no frame of reference. Someone could add or subtract a zero, and we wouldn't really understand the difference. Perhaps even the super-rich no longer have a proper grasp of what those numbers actually stand for, except as a means of comparing themselves with others. So let's try to reformulate £23 billion into something that we can understand. Suppose you work 50 hours a week, between the ages of 20 and 65, week in, week out, year in, year out. How much would your hourly wage need to be so that by the end you'd have amassed £23 billion? The answer is £196,581 for every working hour for 45 years. At this hourly rate, you could buy a 2-bedroom flat in central London every day. Over the years, there have, of course, been fluctuations in the Sunday Times rich list. In 2022, for instance, Blavatnik lost about £3 billion, dropping to 4th place. The list was topped that year by the brothers Sri and Gopi Hinduja and their families, who were listed with a total worth of £28.5 billion. You might rightly ask, who cares that Blavatnik was ousted from the top spot? For those of us trying to get our heads around the phenomenon of extreme wealth, it doesn't matter who comes first or second. What matters is the order of magnitude of these fortunes. All we need to know is that for the last 5 years, each of the top 10 British billionaires has had at least 10 billion, that is, 10 followed by 9 zeros, or the equivalent of around 10,000 flats in central London. 10,000 2-bedroom flats. Looking at the world as a whole, such calculations lead to even more dazzling figures. In 2022, Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla and SpaceX, was ranked first in the billionaires list published by the US business magazine Forbes. At that point, his estimated assets were worth $219 billion. Same question. What's the lifetime hourly wage equivalent of Musk's assets? The answer? $1,871,794 per hour. Almost $2 million per hour. Every working hour for 45 years. Forbes would be quick to point out that the wealth of these billionaires can shrink significantly in a very short time. After Elon Musk bought Twitter for a whopping $44 billion in October 2022, Tesla shares lost more than a third of their value, and Musk's estimated fortune contracted by nearly 20%, dropping to $180 billion. The following spring, the Frenchman Bernard Arnault, owner of luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior and Tiffany, took first place on the Forbes list, his wealth having grown by $53 billion in 2022, leaving him with a total fortune of $211 billion. Bernard Arnault, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and the other billionaires that top the global rich list might be seen as exceptional. In some sense they are. Yet dizzying sums of money don't just belong to those at the very top. In 2022, there were 2,668 billionaires on the Forbes list, and together they held $12,700 billion. Do you, like me, see all those zeros dancing before your eyes? That's because we don't know how to take in that number. That means that, on average...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?